Hello, I'm Frank Kenny from Living in Los Angeles South Bay, and today we're going to touch on a subject that's causing a lot of controversy and much concern in the real estate world, especially due to so much misinformation out there. I'll break down what we know now so you can be informed and show you that this is really a simple change. Okay, here we go. One of the first things about the change is how buyer's agents get paid. For the past 100 years, seller's agents negotiated the selling commission with the seller of the property when the listing documents were signed. In that agreement, the seller agent also stated that of the commission charged to the seller, what portion the seller agent would pay the buyer's agent to sell the house. Now the current change, which is still being finalized as of this video, is set to start August 2024. In the change, the seller's agent is not allowed to advertise the multiple listing service any commission the seller is to pay the buyer's agent. I'll discuss this further. The next big change coming is now the buyer agent must arrange with the buyer the commission they are to get paid for helping the buyer buy a home. The buyer and the buyer's agent must sign a buyer-broker agreement that, among other things, states what the buyer will pay the buyer's agent for the job of helping them buy a home. In the past, this was not really a concern for the buyer or the buyer's broker. However, some states have required it, and we've used it in our own business for at least the last 15 years. It basically spells out the working relationship between the buyer and the buyer's broker, including how much commission the buyer's broker is to receive upon the completion of the sale. Inside of this, and this is very important, the buyer and the buyer's broker must sign a buyer-broker agreement before seeing homes, any homes. This will require the buyers to meet with a buyer broker to determine the terms of working together. So, much like the sellers meet with a broker to list a home for sale, the buyer must now meet with a broker to buy a home. This includes just calling any broker and say, hey, can I see any home? These changes all make sense and bring the job of being a buyer's broker to a more formal level, and that's a good thing, of course. And as a buyer spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home, when you want to have a formal consultation with a broker to make sure you have a good fit. Poor broker services are one source of complaints in real estate, and these changes should help eliminate many of these complaints. As a result of the first 2 points, sellers are now not required to pay a buyer's broker through the seller's broker, as has always been done. Now, this is where sellers get short-sighted and stingy. The first thought from a seller is usually, great, it's going to cost me less money to sell my house now. Well, not so fast, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. As you may recall, you did not pay your broker when you bought the house. Technically, the seller did, and one reason for that is if there was no compensation for the buyer's broker, that buyer's broker would have not shown the house to the buyer in the first place, and you would not have had the sale. Experts agree that while these changes allow for no compensation from the seller to the buyer's broker, it is definitely not recommended, primarily because it may reduce the number of buyers that actually see your home and or make offers on your home, and this could result in you selling for a lower price. Very importantly, it makes sense for the seller to be open to paying the buyer's broker. You don't have to, but it makes sense to do so. Okay, well there you have it, the coming changes as we know it now, and to recap, there are 3 big changes. First of all, commissions for the buyer's agents are not allowed to be advertised in the multiple listing service beginning August 2024. Next, buyers and their broker are required to sign a buyer-broker agreement prior to viewing any homes. These agreements will spell out the terms of the relationship, including how much the buyer will pay the buyer's broker. No one works for free, of course. Since both the buyer broker and the seller broker will be negotiating their own commissions, the amount of the seller's contribution toward the buyer broker commission is now negotiable in the buyer's purchase offer documents. All right, well there you have it. While the upcoming changes seem scary and have caused a lot of confusion, they're relatively simple to do, and in a nutshell, the buyer's broker and the seller's broker are negotiating their respective fees, and whom the fees come from is also negotiated in the purchase offer phase. Of course, the details of these changes are still being worked out, so I'm sure I'll be doing an update to this video. And please like and subscribe so you and others can enjoy the upcoming videos of the areas that we cover. If you'd like to discuss this topic or any other topic of buying or selling a house or real estate, simply reply below or contact me directly. See you in the next video.